Porn star documents the reality of monkeypox in exclusive live interview. Queer News Tonight has continued to document the spread of monkeypox in the gay and greater communities. Recently, Al Ferguson interviewed adult video performer Silver Steele, who had recently finished his own battle with the disease. They discussed the stigma attached to the disease, the thoughts of it being a gay disease, and the connection to monkeypox and sexual activity.
Well, we're very happy to welcome now a healthy Silver Steele to Queer News Tonight. Good evening, Silver. We're, as I said, we're very happy to have you with us tonight. I have been reading all about your process of what's been going on for the last month. It seems like every gay man's nightmare. I read, and let me make sure that I've gotten this summary correct. I read that, of course, it's only been a number of months where monkeypox even came to the national LGBTQ and health attention. Mid-July, you began to get sores, and it became an evolutionary process to learn that you actually had monkeypox. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
That's correct. So the sores began as like little tiny white heads on my just below my lower lip, right around here. You can see in my photos, I documented everything. So July 11th is when they showed up, and that was a Monday, and I had been out on a boat in Austin the weekend prior. The incubation period is a little bit longer than that, so I knew that wasn't when I contracted it. So just judging by the timeline, 4th of July weekend, which was it was a party weekend for me as well, I surmised that I caught it then, and I wasn't doing anything too crazy, and I couldn't sexually trace it back to anybody. That so my only other guess was through more casual contact out at the bars, which, at gay bars were shirtless and making out with countless guys. And so either way, I focused less on, who I got it from or where I got it from. I tried to contact trace as best I could, but I was really focused on just kind of going through the experience at the moment. So when those first popped up, I didn't think that was monkeypox because it just looked like a couple of little whiteheads. I thought maybe razor burn, and I'd been out in the sun and had a lot of sunscreen on my face, so I didn't know. But it wasn't until the week progressed and I got to Friday, which is the 15th, where they no longer really looked like whiteheads, but more like blisters, and I woke up with flu-like symptoms. I had sore throat, swollen lymph nodes, no fever yet, but it was enough for me to put two and two together and think, okay, it's probably monkeypox. And that week was the first week that Houston was even testing for monkeypox. Before that, you couldn't even get a test. And so
yeah.
I went to got tested. And so
I'm curious, in those critical few days, as you're thinking it is something else, and then it begins to dawn on you that it is monkeypox. Was there any intrepidation on your part to report it, to discuss it, seek any specific medical attention? Was there any issue because you thought maybe it's related to monkeypox that slowed the process for you?
I wasn't worried about seeking out, even though I feel like I might have been in the minority not being worried, because I've talked to so many men that have sent me messages and said, like, I have it, but I'm scared to go to the doctor. I'm scared to tell anyone. That never really crossed my mind. I just was like, as soon as I thought I knew what it was, I immediately had no reserve about calling my doctor and be like, hey, I think this is monkeypox. Let's find out. And then I also was not hesitant about contacting people that I had been close to. My partner and another person very close to me both immediately got the vaccine. They had access to the vaccine as soon as I was diagnosed as positive. So I had no reservations about that. I was a little slower to go public with the information. I needed some nudging in that department, but about trying to find out how to treat this and what to do, I was talking to every resource that I could, and there are several online I could actually get in touch with, which I use those resources.
Silver, as we indicated in the introduction, is very well known in the gay adult entertainment industry. Has many friends here in South Florida, where we're based. Here in South Florida, did you find out in terms of the best of the contact tracing that could be done? Did you infect other people? Any knowledge of that?
Not to my knowledge, because you do infect people when you have active symptoms, and I don't really go out much during the week. So the only person I was near between the time that these first appeared on the 11th and when I got tested on the 15th was my partner. And then my other close friend who went and got tested too. But we were just in proximity of each other, but we weren't really doing anything. I mean, when you saw this on my face, it wasn't like it was something you wanted to kiss, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
so fortunately, I didn't really put anybody else at risk. And
Yeah.
To date, nobody has traced any case back to me.
Yeah. And Silver, what's really fascinating about your story, as you said, is you have been incredibly public about what you went through. We have talked about here in South Florida, your experience. You're kind of a reminder to us of what like January 25th was of 2020 when COVID started. You knew there was something there, but you really didn't know what was really going on. And that's kind of where we have been in monkeypox. Now we're seeing the federal government's declared a state of emergency over monkeypox, and there's this great rush for vaccine and focusing on especially the gay men's communities around the country. But that wasn't available, as you indicated. Houston hadn't basically even started the process of discussing, much less doing anything about monkeypox. So you're kind of guinea pig, January 25th, 2020 of COVID almost, and you give us an eye into what's going on and what to expect. As we watch your pictures, first, we are just shocked by the images of the pictures. You documented it so well. But the other thing that really catches us by surprise is you talking about, in rare instances, monkeypox has fatal results. In most instances, it does not. But you talk about how incredibly excruciating the pain was of the process. Tell us a little bit about that. I understand you even ended up having to get a prescription where your doctor prescribed Vicodin to deal with the pain of the monkeypox. Tell us about that.
I was lucky because I don't think Vicodin is something that most doctors will hand out too freely. But I think my doctor actually specializes in, or a lot of his clients are gay men. And so I don't have a history of any kind of opioid addiction or anything. So he was like, I'm going to do Vicodin. I'm going to also prescribe you something called gabapentin, which is actually has turned out to be a really great medicine. And it's non-opioid, but it helps dull the nerves. So that, in conjunction with the Vicodin, really relieved a lot of pain. And so even if someone can't get a hold of Vicodin, if they can get gabapentin, that even with ibuprofen would be a huge help for them. And not only that, but my facial pain is probably nothing compared to what a lot of gay men have been experiencing, because they have experienced monkeypox lesions below the belt, whether it's on their genitals or their anorectal region, and going to the bathroom isn't something that you can really just sort of stop doing. And so when they would have to do that, they just would go through enormous amounts of pain. The pain I felt was normally just from me, sitting there, or I had a lesion on my tongue and one in the back of my throat, so it made eating very painful. But I had some analgesic spray I could spray on those if the Vicodin and the gabapentin weren't quite reaching it. But yeah, I would strongly suggest those medications, because if the way that my face hurt without anything touching it, I can only imagine what other people were going through when they had it in more sensitive areas.
And that's really the crux of our interest in helping educate gay men here in South Florida and around the country. You indicated in your social media posting that it actually was the worst on day 11, not in the earliest stages of the infection. It took quite a while for it to reach its worst. Did that surprise you? The process of basically no knowledge of monkeypox to very little knowledge to having a breakout to this painful experience. Did all of that really surprise you in terms of how it literally creeped up on you?
It did. And not only that, but I think that is where a lot of the fear comes from, because you don't know. I had no idea how long it was going to take. I mean, there was just anecdotal evidence, like it lasts 2 to 4 weeks and there's pain, but they don't say when the pain starts. They don't say when the pain stops. And so you just have to kind of sort of take it day by day. And then not everybody's pain is the same. Some people have less intense pain. Some have more. Some describe it as a burn, no itching. So even with the knowledge we have now, all we can say is be prepared for one or more of these types of feelings whenever you get the sores. A little bit further along, and not only that, but the pain ended before the lesions fell off. So even in the days that were, as I was approaching the end and waiting for the scabs to fall off, I really wasn't even having to take pain medication anymore. So for people who message me going, how long do I have to deal with this? I let them know, I'm like, it's really not as long as you think. I know these few days, these like 7 days in the middle can be really intense and really hard, but push through. It's really not, it's not for as long as you think it's going to be. You just have to the image for a while.
I want to ask you, Silver, we're talking a lot about monkeypox. And initially, we didn't give it much credence because so few infections were being reported, but the numbers are escalating very significantly. South Florida reported a month-over-month increase of 40%, which is principally gay men. 98% of everyone being infected are gay men. Do you think, I'm curious from your experience, you're, again, that kind of beginning guinea pig for all gay men to learn from what monkeypox is all about. Do you think, from your point of view and your experience, are we taking this as seriously as we should?
I think we are more now, but it's one of those hindsight is 2020 things. You know, when the World Health Organization said global emergency, I was sitting here thinking like this should have happened 6 weeks ago. When America declared an emergency, it was like, no, this should have happened a while ago too. And then, of course, for gay men, myself included, who are now we're seeing these infection rates rise drastically. We're all like, okay, we should have taken this seriously sooner. So it's, you know, it's something that's part of the reason I went public is I wanted to tell everybody, hey, y'all take this serious now. If you're planning on going to market days or Southern Decadence or what have you, go get vaccinated. And especially now that it's more available. It's not, you know, widely available in some areas yet, but a lot of the major metropolitan areas are finding it like, or it's, the citizens are finding it less difficult to go get the injection. You can see here, I actually got my vaccination, and there are several people saying, yo, you don't need to get the vaccination after you had it. Really, this is partially symbolic because I was telling everybody to get vaccinated, so I needed to do it myself. But
Well,
I have no qualms against having some extra protections because Lord knows if this thing mutates or what.
if we could put that picture back up one more second. Silver, I have to tell you, that's probably the most appealing get vaccinated image I have ever seen. So congratulations to you. I'm curious in terms of what you've learned through this process. It is easy for viewers, gay viewers included, gay men, to say, well, you're in the adult industry, so this is natural, that's how you got it, blah, blah, blah. It really isn't that, is it?
No, I to tell you the truth, if I could cop to a story about like, oh, I was on set or oh, I was filming an OnlyFans video, I don't have that story, and I would own it if that was the case. But I really don't know where I got it because in the time frame where I would have caught this based on the incubation period, I wasn't doing anything really wild and crazy. So, but that's not to say that that you know people should still not take precautions. You know, vet your sexual partners, just ask maybe where they've been or what they've been doing, and yeah, by all means go get vaccinated, you know.
Yeah.
Just have, even if you only have the first shot before you go somewhere, it helps. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, and I want to kind of end our exploration of what has happened to you with monkeypox, and that is on the vaccine. They're rushing vaccine. We reported the end of last week that the CDC and Department of Health, the federal agencies of health, are focusing on an additional, very significant number of vaccines, principally at gay men's events around the country. Pride events, Southern Decadence, you will be able to get vaccinated, etc. Tell gay listeners that are fans of yours or you're being introduced to why the vaccine is important in your opinion.
So there's charts out there already that yet. 2 weeks after the first shot, I believe you have around 28% protection. I might be off these numbers a little bit. 4 weeks after the first shot, you go 65% protected. And then 2 weeks after your second shot, I believe, you are 98% protected. And that's not just like either getting or not getting it. But if you do happen to pick up the virus, you will have a much more subdued version of it, because believe me, you don't want to go through what I went through. I know a lot of people that have picked it up even after getting the shot, but they end up only having like one small lesion somewhere or one small lesion somewhere else, and they're just thankful that they didn't have to go through a more difficult case. And now it is more accessible. The bar that I did a gig for in New Orleans this past week, the Phoenix, they do pop-up vaccination clinics. I think they're doing one this Thursday in New Orleans from 5 to 8 with 500 doses. I think a lot of public health organizations are realizing that these clubs or even like certain bathhouses have the reach to the audience that needs this the most. And so they're giving doses to these businesses that want to do these little pop-up clinics at their places that happen weekly, twice a week, sometimes even daily. So I would strongly suggest contacting local gay businesses that are frequented by gay men, because they may have something for you.
Yeah, it's very, very good advice. Last question for you, Silver. Lots in especially the political far extreme right have suggested that this is a gay disease. It's a gay man's disease. It's a plague. It's whatever. Fill in the blank. What are your thoughts about that in terms of how monkeypox is being associated as a plague on the gay community?
I have to be very careful when I bring up this topic, but part of the reason that I first decided to go public with this is because I was seeing so many gay men who were scared and quiet and felt shame about what they were going through. And I was drawing a lot of parallels that happened to our community 40 years ago. And I said, now is not the time to be silent. Now we have to speak up, and, people need to be educated and, really know what's going on. And so when you hear about, HIV being a gay disease, you're like, no, you see what happened. It hits the general population. And viruses, anybody who knows just biology basics, they don't go looking for gay men. They look for anybody. We were unlucky enough to, for it to hit our community hardest first, but there have already been cases that happen outside the community, and it could be anybody that's in hotels dealing with linens that wasn't prepared, or I've heard of first responders getting it. Even in Texas, we actually have had our first child that is tested positive with it. So everybody needs to be vigilant about this. No one is safe or immune to this naturally. So that's not saying that everybody needs to be scared of it, but everybody needs to give this virus the vigilance it deserves.
Very well said. We continue to follow your story. And to everyone out there that wants to learn more about monkeypox from a firsthand experience, we encourage you to go to Silver Steele's social media. It is very, very well documented. We're very happy you're healthy and things have returned to normal. And thank you very much for helping make us all understand how critically important monkeypox is to our gay community. Thank you for being with us tonight at Queer News Tonight.
I appreciate it, Al. Thank you so much.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.